Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. Here where we're playing as Settra of the Tomb Kings. Check this out. I realized something. I was looking at the menus here while I was setting up the recording. This power is everything trait. What this actually seems to do is it makes the great power modifier a positive with these guys. So as we continue to grow, as we gain more territory, our great power modifier will increase, and most factions will trust us less because of our growing power. But these guys will actually get friendlier. My suspicion is that we can have these guys as long-term friends and trading partners, as long as we can get powerful enough for them to respect us before they backstab us, you know? So, growing quickly is the name of the game, and then we can have a nice, their land doesn't look huge or terribly valuable, although I suppose it does have a pair of strategic locations. But it's nice to have a trading partner, especially when our income is going to be so low. Like, trade income could be really valuable. I don't know, we'll see. They might be long-term allies. It'll be easy enough to keep them friendly, at least. Alright, I think these vampires are probably next. I'm a little worried about... Yeah, I'm a little worried about there being Bretonnians right over here on our border. I don't really know what to do about it. We gotta get walls up around Xandri quickly. Also, thank you to the person who pointed out in the comments of the last episode that the reason my units were losing their engagement orders was because I had somehow turned on default guard mode in the options. Oops, sorry about that. Should be fixed now. Guard mode is really good for ranged units and artillery, and not at all good, really, for our army composition, so I fixed that. Okay. Mission issued. Craft any item or awaken a Legion of Legend via the Mortuary Cult, and we'll get 15 canopic jars back and some money. Alright. Money's tough for us. The cash rewards from quests are usually pretty insignificant, usually worth ignoring. Here, I think we actually care about these. Also, it would be cool if we could sign a non-aggression pact with those guys that I was just talking about. Well, we'll see. Right now, we're trending negative with them, but we'll continue to grow. We might be able to get there. Alright, so we now have an income of 6 jars per turn? 5 jars per turn. I thought these guys were both at plus... Oh, well, it's not counting his new level. Yeah, so we now have an income of 6 jars per turn, plus whatever else we're going to be able to get. Hopefully that will be good enough to... hopefully that'll be good enough to pay for the stuff we need in the early game. I don't really know how many we're going to spend, you know? Oh, one other thing I noticed while I was looking through here. I was looking at all the other books, and I noticed that this one, the 4th book, actually seems like something you'd really want in the early game. It'll make all of our lords that we recruit better for the entire game. Wound recovery time is cool. It's a big influx of jars, and it's actually not really that far away. I mean, sort of not that far away. I think it's way better than the book we were originally aiming for, so I think we might want to aim west. Well, we're going to be coming down here to fight these vampires anyway, because they're just going to dislike us more and more over time. Yeah, maybe we'll still pick this book up first. Alright, I think we probably... I said I wanted to save up population so that we could improve Khemri, but maybe I do want to build up the walls around Xandri as early as possible, especially if I actually am going to the south. Yeah, alright. Let's try to get those walls established, because we're not going to be in position to defend it. It is a shame, though, that doing this is going to mean we're going to get to our advanced unit buildings a little slower. It's probably a bad idea to lose our port, though. Ensure that one of the following buildings has been constructed. These are, I'm assuming... Yeah, okay. They're the 3rd level main settlement structure. Okay, we will build stuff. And followers who are, fine, not great. Yeah, we are at least causing some positive public order pressure while we're in here. Let's come down here and threaten these dudes. Alright, they only have 2 settlements, and neither one of them is a region capital, so they don't even have walls or big garrisons. We should be able to wipe these guys out very quickly. Alright, what do we want to do with our jars next? We could craft some crummy weapons. I think we very obviously do not want to do that. But what are we aiming toward? Picking up another legion could be a good way to go. We're not that far from the Nahakara warriors. So they're ethereal sword infantry. Ethereal means massive physical resistance, basically, so that's pretty great. They're undead, they cause fear. Yeah, alright. 200 jars is actually not even that many turns of just waiting. And if we can do some stuff to finish some quests, we should be there very quickly. We'll just boot a random skeleton warrior unit for him. Unfortunately, taking these provinces is going to make things a little tricky for us in terms of maintaining order. We've made a great discovery. During the course of our excavations, remains of the army that once served Alcadazar the Conqueror, the last and maybe greatest of all the priest kings of Nahakara, have been unearthed. It would take but a little magic to raise them to our service. Should we do so, or give them a ritual burial in the classical Nahakaran style? Wow, that is a significant buff. We're not really about to be doing anything difficult, though, and we could certainly use the jars right now. So we can just fire a random unit of these guys, and then awaken Usirian's Legion of the Netherworld. Makes us some immediate money. Alright, cool. And actually, these guys have pretty impressive combat stats. That's interesting. Usually when it says anti-infantry, usually there's a specific anti-infantry damage bonus, but I guess it just means, you know, because their combat stats are so incredible. I mean, we may as well just march. Well, I guess we would benefit from one more turn of replenishment. We'll move to here. Yeah, we'll be just about full in one more turn. Alright, this time we are for sure saving up population. We actually are good on population. We're going to need some more money, though. Next turn we'll have it, so I don't want to spend any money right now. In a couple turns we'll have the money to upgrade the central settlement building in our port settlement, which will accomplish a quest when it completes and allow us to build the walls over there, and then I'll feel a lot more secure. And killing these vampires is probably going to be the best way to make that money quickly. Unfortunately, they do have a full stack over here, which I was not expecting.
Darkness comes.
Yeah, it's mostly garbage units, but also our army is mostly garbage units, so... Let's see here. 19 attack, 24 defense with 10 armor. How do we compare to, like, their skeleton warriors? Actually, their skeleton warriors are pretty good. They seem to be about as good as ours. Obviously, we're a lot better than zombies, but so is everything. Why don't we go take a peek at the other settlement? Oh, they just lost the other settlement to these guys.
We will see our homeland persist through all the coming ages of the world. Ill-judged.
Alright, that's a shame. We probably will be able to get something out of them if we if we help them wipe out the Necrarchs. So actually, that's pretty good for us, though. The fact that they are after the Necrarch Brotherhood means we can probably just sit here for a moment. This army will move out to meet that army, or something will happen. And we're not going to have the money to make that proclamation that I wanted to make from the tech tree. Yeah, money's going to be a constant issue, it appears.
You speak with Settra, King.
Yeah. Right? There's no reason for us not to do this. I don't have any particular interest in fighting those guys. So it's really easy to look at the fact that our dudes are undead and everything, and also to hear Settra speak and conclude that, oh, we must be an evil force, and so the Bretonnians would hate us. But actually, the Tomb Kings mostly skew, like, neutral to good, is my understanding, with the exception of that one guy who really loves vampires, not the guy we're playing as. During the excavation of one of our lord's tombs, a disaster occurred. The more we dug, the more sand poured into the breach, trapping our unfortunate workers inside and resealing the chamber. Is the loss of a few wretched laborers sufficient reason to dig elsewhere? Or should we persevere here and redouble our efforts? I think we should dig elsewhere because I want that money. There are so many other tombs to be explored, you know? Yeah, let's dig elsewhere. Let's get paid. Research a dynasty technology that permits recruitment of a hero. Alright, I will get to that eventually. So we have +1 army capacity, but a big loss of research rate. So let's have a look at what does +1 army capacity mean for our money. Okay, yeah, we don't have to deal with the escalating army cost that most factions have to. Alright, I don't know that we want to put together the second army yet. Because we could wait until we can recruit one of these really cool lords. And this would be a good one to have. +8 melee attack, basically always, at least for the moment. We're pretty far off at 200 jars, but we'll get there. Here's the question. Do I want to get the proclamation of the First Dynasty right away? Or would I rather spend this money on quickly upgrading my my settlement so that I can put walls on it? Well, extra charge bonus for Nehekara warriors and chariots sounds okay. I'm pretty sure we don't. I'm not in a big hurry to do any of this stuff. You know what? Let's take the proclamation. The extra movement range and the trade income both will be useful. I mean, the trade income will be useful eventually when we start trading.
We will see our homeland persist through all the coming ages of the world.
We're going to have to find some people that will trade with us, though. I mean, the knights, in theory, might.
I must protest.
Yeah, alright. They're coming around, though. Yeah, unfortunately, nobody really likes us yet.
Bow before your king.
So I guess we just walk over here to a point where the path from the border to their city is relatively short, and we wait. But only for so long. I do want those springs. The Necrarch Brotherhood and Tlaqua, which is a Lizardman faction somewhere. They want 100 gold. Yeah. Alright, non-aggression packs I'm fine with. Let's start arranging some friendships, right? We're gonna need somebody to trade with. Alright, so we have our cool thing here. Now let's pick up weapon, strength, and armor. I mean, we're gonna get all of these, obviously. They're not coming out. And I think going over there to fight them is probably foolish. This is unfortunate. Well, I need somebody to fight.
Like the Tra, I am divine. Worship me, and we may strike a pact.
Okay, so this person is just going to get angrier and angrier at us. So we could go over and fight these guys and hack our way over to that book. You know what, let's start putting together the second army. It's going to be a while before we have access to a really good lord. Ooh, enables poison attacks. That's interesting. My understanding of how poison works is that if you hit any figure in a unit with a poison attack, the poison debuff immediately affects every figure in that unit. So lords that have poison attacks can run around spreading poison among a lot of units. The debuff doesn't work for a terribly long time, but that doesn't seem terrible. This is unimpressive to me. Alright, welcome to the team.
Defend your king.
Okay, so we're not running any archer chariots right now. Here, we'll grab good stuff and then we'll come and we'll trade some of it into his army. And next turn we'll move toward the front and we'll just prepare to overwhelm him. Still pretty short on cash. Yeah, this being able to run a second stack this early on is probably going to be very helpful. I often find on very hard that I'm running a single army for like 30 or 40 turns at the beginning of the game, which can make situations like this difficult to deal with.
Parched desert heat. Stride to greatness. Make way.
We not... Oh.
Settra the imperished.
Okay, they couldn't... He couldn't quite reach Settra. So I see no reason for Settra's army not to just be the most elite that it could possibly be.
Settra, wait.
Plus, obviously, we want the chariots with him anyway.
Mighty am I. Settra is desiccated.
Alright, it's 3,200 for the upgrade, so we need 2 more turns for that to just come naturally. And we're only a couple of turns of skeleton recruitment away from just going for this. Unfortunately, I think this is in the same province as these two settlements, so we're not going to be able to unite that province. But we have other stuff to worry about. It's just that a united province is so good for maintaining public order, you know? How's public order going over here? It is actually falling very rapidly. Alright, we can probably kill the growth for a moment. Let's turn off taxation, really pump public order. We can do that and leave it that way for a while. Alright, so they have a full stack plus 7. Crypt ghouls are actual units. These ones we have to be a little worried about.
Slaves worry about heat.
So we probably want to make sure that we have relatively full stacks. Also, there's no consequence to it, right? There's no negative pressure of the type that most factions experience. So I guess we wait. And the negative pressure, I guess, is me getting bored. I must be patient enough to behave in a sensible way. Maybe I should lead the attack with the new general, because the fact that all the chariots are in Settra's army probably means that Settra will be better as a reinforcement. Chariots can join the battle a lot more quickly. Oh no! The populace in one of our settlements is gradually vanishing. On certain nights, whole ghettos or districts are left abandoned. The only clue for the remaining denizens is a triangular symbol daubed on a nearby gate or wall. Man, the last thing I need is to deal with Skaven right now.
Bow before your
Okay, we got your canopic jars. What do I want to do with this guy now? I think I kind of want to just focus up his yellow line. Like, let's get him as good at fighting as possible.
My dynasty reigns supreme.
Boy, this is a really, really basic army. I guess we ought to have some spears in it, just in case. I don't expect to fight a lot of large things in the next couple of turns. But I also don't want to have to constantly be trying to refigure my armies against new threats. You know, due to laziness. Charge bonus, ammunition, or melee attack, melee defense. Let's go this way.
Settra is desiccated.
The Nehekara warriors are going to be standing and fighting and will benefit a lot more from some straight standing and fighting stats than from the brief charge bonus they'll get to take advantage of. I wonder if zombies have a charge bonus. So I'm just thinking, they don't really charge very much.
More sleep shines.
Okay, they have a charge bonus of 3. So it kind of doesn't even matter if they can charge or not.
Submit to your king.
Alright, I think this is probably good enough. We outnumber them by a really huge amount.
Only slaves worry about heat.
It's true, we are trespassing.
They shall perish.
I think this ought to be pretty straightforward. We don't need to watch our undead armies slowly shamble at each other for 20 minutes. Alright, wasn't a huge amount of money.
Expands.
We should occupy it. It has a new trade good. Okay, Gambler's armor is pretty good. I do love anything that has a ward save on it.
Where is this? Legions, march!
Oh, you know what? I was going to head toward that book, wasn't I? I started turning these guys around to head west, but we may as well continue forward to the book that we are already aware of, the one that we're close to. Alright, let's get those walls. So we should pick out a couple items from the crafting menu that we really want, and then keep track of what we need to get them, so that we'll know when we're ready.
You speak with Settra, King of Kings. Know that
Rebit's
you
Blackbog.
are not.
No, I'm afraid I have to say no to that. Ooh. You see those ruins over there? That makes me nervous. This settlement being apparently unsettled is unsettling me because it might actually be Skaven. Skaven cities appear as ruins. That wasn't something we had to deal with at all in our last game, because we spent the entire thing on Ulthuan, where there just aren't any Skaven, but I'm a little worried now. Alright, what do we have access to here? Physical resistance and charge bonus. Okay, all of our stuff. I mean, that does seem awfully good. What else do we have access to? Ambush success chance. Well, I think I want to get lightning strike. Let's make sure we have that, and then I think we're probably going to move on to other stuff. We're going to move out of the blue line. But with these two armies, we should be able to be able to press these orcs pretty effectively, I would think.
Nehekara is mine. Where is this?
Alright, we'll just stay together here. Probably don't really want more archers. 16 missile damage is really low.
Is desiccated.
You know what? Archers are more than just the damage they deal. So this is going to be tough to hold on to if anybody around here turns on us in any way. Okay, but relations with these guys are improving.
Home of the I shall comply.
Okay, we might get a trading partner out of this. We'll have to actually get a trade route going. Apparently right now we can't reach their capital. It might just be because we don't know where it is. So let's have a quick look here. Actually, before we do this, I should figure out what slots are his things in. Okay, he is going to get a weapon, so we don't necessarily need to worry about crafting a weapon. And then he's got his crown. So what are some cool items we could craft in other slots? Regeneration armor is not bad. Just big ward save and physical resist armor is not bad. Wow, that is a lot of stuff we don't have access to. The scorpion armor. Oh, interesting. As long as your hit points are below half, you have an extra 22% resistance to all damage. Alright, we gotta find spices. A lot of the good stuff requires spices. Flaming attacks and negative flame resistance on enemies. That's pretty cool. Alright. We're really far off of everything, is what I've learned. That's that's the important part. Alright, new guy's going to keep the 5 archers, but we are going to pass those Nehekaran warriors up to Settra. I can't imagine these guys have much more land than we're seeing here. It's probably just these 3 settlements. So we can wipe them out, take over their little mountain region, get our first book, and use that as a place from which to plan our further expansion. Cities of Nehekara are without compare in their scale and grandeur. However, time ravages stone just the same as flesh, and now our buildings are badly in need of restoration. Upon which of them should we focus our endeavors? Well, we could rebuild our armies or our settlements. I think we're more likely to be building infrastructure buildings over the next little while. Alright, we got our ossuary dirge. We're getting close on the canopic jars. Remember, each settlement we take gives us the opportunity to get 30 more. So we should be able to get the jars necessary to hire this cool lord soon. Then we'll pass off the army that our new guy is leading. So I guess for now, just keep working on this stuff. Alright, let's trade these guys for 2 random units of skeletons. Do we go straight to Karagorud? I would like to win this one.
What are you good swans?
I gotta make sure that we move close enough to be reinforcements. Alright, good enough. This should be pretty easy. They don't seem to have any walled settlements at all, somehow. Oh, he actually can't move far enough. Ah, because the capital of this region is Carrickzorn. Well, this stuff is not our ideal climate. Maybe we should just burn it all? I do want these 2 trade goods, though. Obsidian and exotic animals are both useful to us. Do we have to occupy this place for the book, or can we just burn it down? That says occupy. Alright. These regions might be difficult to keep control of. Well, if Settra can't move quite close enough, what we need to do is get encircle. This will allow Settra to move a little bit closer, because he was kind of blocked by our own army, is part of what was going on there. Alright, now he'll be reinforcements. Wow, what an incredibly boring fight this would be. Just mash ourselves into this wall of orcs.
Take it for me.
Okay, a Banner of Eternal Flame is not an incredible buff, but it's something. It's better than the empty slot, that's for sure. Oh wait, he didn't get a level. That's a pretty good skill there. Do love me some weapon damage. Trying to select this other army. There we go.
He does not impress me. Undead king.
So,
Undead.
New Guy's army can just chill for a while. Settra can go grab Karak Orid. And then once this guy's healed up and Settra's back, we'll go forth and grab our book here.
My dynasty reigns supreme.
Alright, public order is going to be very difficult to keep up in this area. Alright, we're actually positive on public order here. And we're positive here as long as we don't re-enable taxes. It'll do for now. Let's not spend any large amounts of money. Oh, you know what? I was thinking we could bring in the Lord we're just about to research, and then hand this guy's army off to him, but there's no way for me to really do that, is there? Because I would need to be able to have all 3 lords in play briefly, which is not something we can do here. With most forces, you can, just bring in a new lord, operate at a deficit for a turn, and trade off the units.
I rule everything. King of battle.
Plus weapon damage, let's give it to one of the Nehekaran warrior units. Let's give it to these guys. You know, as bad as our units are, we're not actually losing units.
This is Settra's.
Okay, a Necrotect. And is that enough money to start the construction? It is. 3rd level of walls. Or rather, tier 3. Well, you know what I mean. Actual walls. A tier 3 defensive structure.
Settra the imperishable.
I feel a lot better about that. So this dude is... he's a pretty great fighter. And it usually is the case that when you put somebody on horseback, they lose some of their ability to stand and fight. But we could mount him on a 2nd War Sphinx. Yeah, let's definitely go in that direction. Sometimes it's better, if you want your lord to just wade into the crowd and chop dudes up, sometimes it's better to leave them on foot, is my experience. Okay, we're definitely going to have to turn off taxation here. We're probably actually going to have to get rid of these crypt barracks. So we're going to need walls, and we're going to need a public order building to keep this place from flipping on us all the time. I mean, I guess this can be the wall slot. We can just leave it as it is, but then we don't have access to the marble. Yeah, we're probably going to have to cut the recruitment building for marble.
King of Nehekara.
It doesn't have to be right now, though. I do think we're going to go ahead and grab the new lord. We'll get another army capacity eventually, and when we get it, I want to have a good lord to recruit into that slot. Followers of Nagash. Okay. Sandstorms. It's the sandstorm thing. Alright, so these guys went to war with those wood elves and also somebody else a couple of turns ago.
Witness my eternal majesty.
Alright, how do these guys feel about us? Well, things are getting a little bit more positive.
You have been granted access to the halls.
Still no path to trade with their capital. How about over here?
Bow before the rightful lords of this land, and I'll hear your demands. I refuse.
Yeah, I kind of didn't think so. Well, it would be cool to be able to give them gifts, buy a little bit of opinion, which we then could use to solidify our opinion for the future by giving them a trade agreement. But that's tough to do with the Tomb Kings. Gold is very precious.
Summon them. This one will have to do.
It's interesting how much the economy stuff is affecting the way we're going to have to play this game. Very, very different. Actually, we probably don't want to march.
Legions rise.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was afraid of, that they were going to have a full army waiting for us and another army recruiting.
Good statuary.
Well, we're coming. Slowly but surely. Let's step back over into the town's reinforcement range.
Move, I say.
We're just going to have to wait a little bit for some of our guys to recover. Now, do I want to get this right now? We could get a priest right now. That would fulfill one of our quests, giving us some money. Yeah, this I guess is not urgent. Let's do this, and then also we get to have a hero. He probably has the same spells as Settra, but we can put him in the other army. That way they're both magic enabled. And then probably from there we start recruiting, or we start researching another dynasty so that we can get another army capacity. Okay, well they have stolen away our friendly wood elves. And they don't like us nearly as much as the wood elves did. Okay, recruit a hero for some more jars. I will certainly do that. Since my recruitment capacity is all coming from... Yeah, okay. So with a lot of factions, you have to recruit in the places you build the buildings that give you the recruitment capacity. But since ours is all from tech, we can just get them from anywhere. So, they have access to the death lore, which I've used before. We played vampires. Light, which I don't think is great in general, but it does have the net of Emmentalk, which is a really powerful spell. It got nerfed recently, but it's, I suspect, still really powerful. The lore of Nehekara, I'm assuming this is what Settra has. And then shadows, which, okay, never mind. Shadow, we don't even have anybody. Ah, we have to get a particular book to have access to shadows.
Settra does not serve.
Well, let's have a look at Settra's spells. Oh, wow. Okay, so every school of magic has one of these passives that triggers every time you cast. 7 seconds of healing, resurrecting dead figures. Yeah, this seems incredibly powerful. So, yeah, let's recruit another one of these. What do we have access to? A wise one or a treacherous one? Attack and defense boost for tomb scorpions. This guy seems a little specific for my taste. And hey, more canopic jars. We're actually going to be generating a ton of these. Alright, so we'll fire one of the normal skeleton units from the second army. And yeah, I guess we'll start in on another dynasty because we could really use one more army capacity. Which one do we want? So this is the cavalry-focused one. Capital and settlement buildings, +2 public order in all provinces. That could be very useful. Boosts for some weird non-infantry units. This guy likes to hang out with sphinxes. Ooh, he does have +1 capacity for sphinxes. We could use another war sphinx. We can't actually hire one, right? Or actually, you know what? Do the buildings give us the ability to hire them, or do they just increase unit cap? Like, would hiring this guy be enough to allow me to get another sphinx, or would I still have to build the tech building for it? I'm not really sure. Ushabti. I am curious about what great bow Ushabti really are, because they're monstrous infantry with bows, and I think this is the first time we've had access to that kind of thing. This guy's like big monsters, the Hyro Titans. Okay, this is an interesting dynasty. We could go for this. Plus income from sacking and looting settlements, which is pretty whatever. We're not making a lot of money off of that. Okay, this is the sort of higher tier units guy. Or Dynasty, rather. Winds of Power. I wonder if these are somewhat randomized. Because it really would make more sense for this guy, Thutep, who loves War Sphinxes and whatnot, to be connected to the dynasty that has all the War Sphinx stuff. Yeah, weird. Well, local recruitment capacity +1 everywhere. Construction costs down for construct buildings. And buffs for the Ushabti and stuff. This lord is kind of awkward, but I think I want to go this way. I think we want to lean into constructs because they're really cool. And we haven't really gotten to play with a lot of big, weird units. The Skaven game, at least in Warhammer II, the Skaven game was like all siege weapons, and then obviously the elf game was archers, as far as the eye can see. Alright, so now that we're not saving up to build these walls anymore, where do I want to start spending my money? Honestly, I probably want to save up to continue improving Khemri. Alright. We'll chill until the mage catches up, and then we'll march on those orcs. Now remember, Settra does have lightning strike, so when we get close to the orc settlement, we'll be able to take out whichever army is sitting around outside the walls pretty easily. And then from there, we dramatically outnumber their garrison plus their garrisoned army. Okay, we start moving next turn then.
Greatest. Good tidings, Your Majesty.
If I do this... Okay, yeah, it actually does dramatically increase replenishment. Alright, that seems fine. And once again, we're waiting to get up to 3,200 gold before we spend any more money. I wonder how effective raiding is with these guys. We might have to raid. I've never really done much raiding because it has always seemed to be better to just go and run down the force that you would raid and get money from killing them instead. But these dudes really do not make a lot of money from killing and looting. Lich priests should live only to serve their king's undying will. Betrayal should be anathema to their order. Yet one among their number has betrayed us by conspiring with a rival Tomb King. Alright, calm down, dude. How should we proceed? We could bury him alive, or we could ignore him and just kind of let stuff suck. Yeah, this isn't really a cost. Let us bury this Judas priest. Because we're probably not going to be doing any hero actions anytime soon.
Served me in life, now death.
We're just going to be using our heroes for violence, so...
My dynasty reigns supreme. Mortuary gods. Bathe in Shaish.
Okay. Now both units have a spellcaster. Mountain pass attrition. That's annoying.
The mountains bow to Settra.
Well, we don't really have a movement mode that makes us safe from attrition. We can drop into Scorpion mode, as long as we leave ourselves at least 50% of our normal movement range. Oh, actually, you know what? I should move this army first. Just to make sure that we have enough range for both of us to get to where we're going. because this army has a little bit less range on account of one of the characters in it having already moved. Alright, we'll just approach slowly, keep ducking under the sand. And if we take these guys out and get their book, we're 1/5 of the way there. I expect that this is actually going to get quite a bit more difficult because a lot of the books are pretty far away. But we can pick up 2 pretty easily here. Oh, interesting. So that army ran under the underway to go take out the Springs of Eternal Life. We're going to be able to take Lost Plateau, but they're going to get a new settlement at the same time. A new monument will show the gods that their veneration is still our utmost concern. Foremost concern. They, in turn, will strengthen our hands in this time of endless war, but to whom among our pantheon should it be dedicated? Plus 10% strength for melee infantry units, or plus 10... Okay, I mean, this is pretty obvious. We have way more infantry than anything else. Now that they've separated, I don't know that this is even a 2-army job anymore. Yeah, I think Settra can handle this himself, and the other army needs to turn around. Really, doing a lightning strike makes it less likely that we will succeed. I'm not sure that that makes any sense. Because when you enable lightning strike, even if you don't prevent any reinforcements from showing up, at least in the first game, it gave all the enemies a debuff, like a -5 leadership. So in theory, enabling lightning strike should be a positive here. Weird. Alright, so we lost a couple of units of skeletons and one of Nehakaran warriors there. But hey, look at that. Oh.
The first book found. A Codex Mortifica. The pages within seeped in dark magic. The hieroglyphs match those upon the pillar. Illuminating our progress.
I'm not gonna lie, for a second there, I thought that maybe my monitor had turned off. It just went actual black. Without warning. Alright, not too difficult. And then, I think we should be able to take these guys down. Do I think I will be able to stand up to them? Just straight up, pound for pound here? Maybe not? Because this army doesn't have any cool stuff in it. Hold up.
I have arrived.
They can get basically anywhere. We can't stop them from taking the Springs of Eternal Life.
I'm awake.
But we probably can counteract them once we get there. Right, we can just show up after they take it and wipe them out. But I want to be sure that they can't just ride into us and crush us. I guess these are just boys. These aren't even savage orcs anymore. You know what? Let's go ahead and be aggressive. I'm not going to run all the way out. It would be better if we didn't engage the turn we've been marching, because your units start with less vigor. But I definitely want to be close enough to fight them, and if they get drawn off and come after us, that might be to our benefit. Alright, and we have a ton of money now, having accomplished a major quest objective. So let's do some upgrades. Public order's fine here. We don't really need to worry about the public order building. We should do some upgrades in some other places as well. The salt plain's not really in a huge amount of danger. Actually, none of this stuff is. Oh, but we need access to the iron. Oh, that's right. We don't We don't have a special thing in Galbaraz. Where else could we... Oh yeah, over here. Because we need access to these trade goods as well. I might dismantle both of these so that we could put up the relevant trade resource buildings instead. Oh no, Lost Plateau doesn't have one. But Karag Orud could use that, and then we'll upgrade Mount Arachnos so that we can access the exotic animals. And I think we're headed toward being able to build some cool stuff here. Hexuatl is fighting some orcs somewhere. I mean, that's on the other continent, way out to the west. We don't have to worry about that. I wonder if the major AI Vortex player factions are going to interfere with our quest at all. Okay, yeah. This is a slaughter. We don't need to participate personally in this. Actually, I'm surprised that we were able to get so many kills. So they don't have a garrison. And they're injured somewhat, but random orc boys are considerably better than our bad skeleton units. We don't really have a lot of tools here. Let's see, we could pick up some horsemen. Yeah, alright. Let's drop 4 units of normal skeletons. Grab both of these, one of these, and one of these. And also, Settra's army needs to head back. Okay. We are properly ready to go after these guys next turn. It is going to be a bloodbath.
Yours is not to question.
Now, in theory, these guys could just go back into underway stance and bounce back over this mountain range, probably. If they do that, we're going to have to split up our armies, keep one at the springs, and have the other one move back down here. Although, you know what? Maybe I don't care if they do that. Because we don't actually need the Lost Plateau anymore. We want these, but Lost Plateau doesn't get us anything.
Attend your king, slaves.
Okay. Well, first things first. We go and we lightning strike this guy out of the way. Or he just runs. He's run out of reinforcement range. Good enough for me.
Destroy them. Shatter their bones.
Do I actually? Oh yeah, marble.
In my name.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I actually want these, or if I would rather just let that burn for the jars. Because obviously we want the jars. So we've unlocked some special spears. What are we looking at here? Okay, spears with poison attack. And they have higher defense, and yeah, these are fine. We'll take these. We don't really need any of those things. I would like to grab... Here we go. I would like to grab these in the Hekaran Warriors.
Attend your king, slaves.
And I guess here we just fill with random skeletons. We can always disband stuff later to fix our army compositions if we need to. Alright, so we started to unlock access to this stuff. Hero recruit rank +2 for Tomb Princes faction-wide. That seems awfully good. Unyielding Will. Replaces My Will Be Done. Do I have an ability called My Will Be Done? Maybe? Man, wait. Constant? Affects allies around self. Yeah, okay. That seems awfully good, and it's going to lead into really great stuff, I'm assuming, because these things you have to level up to earn are almost always really great. Yeah, wow, Restless Minions is really something. Okay, yeah, we're definitely completing this group.
Settra is victorious. He does not impress me.
Probably with the wizard, it's okay to push up the spell line a little bit before getting the Canopic Jar thing. Wizards are a lot more useful when they have spells to cast. Alright, I know I needed this for our legendary item, right? Yeah, alright. That seems like a good use of some of our money. And then what else do we want to do here? Oh, we want to get, yeah, pottery. So we're starting to, just now, starting to get a hold of the resources that we've been working toward. We're going to have access to a very large array of craftables, though, in a couple of seconds here. A couple of turns, rather. And we've wiped out these orcs, and we got our hands on one of the books. I don't think we need to go south any further than we already have, and I certainly don't want to end up in contact with lizardmen or Skaven if I can avoid that, because those guys suck. Alright, I appreciate your bravery. I see what you're doing. He knows he can't win, but he can at least go out in a huge blaze of glory. Man, winning battles against a single guy is remarkably effective at generating experience. I would not, I would not expect that to be the case. Well, we can get a hold of a whole lot of extra Tomb Princes, high-level ones at that. Do I want to get this first? I guess just the first level of this has all of the unit capacity attached to it. Let's take Restless Minions now. And then we can start getting Tomb Guard. Well, we can get more Tomb Guard. It looks like it actually does require the appropriate buildings. So we need a whole lot of money to build a Royal Barracks. You know, I'm not that worried about his hit points. Let's keep making him better at actually killing people. You win battles a lot more quickly if you're actually killing the enemy. So I guess the next thing we want to do is head to Vulture Mountain. Where are the other books that are nearby? I guess down here with the lizardmen and stuff, there are a couple. 50% effectiveness of all commandments. That's not bad. This is a lot of jars per turn. I suppose the nice thing about these is that they're not, they don't necessarily require us to come into conflict with the agents in the region. We can just come down here, wipe this unit out, wipe this army out, and disappear. We don't have to take settlements away from anybody or anything. So maybe these are worth going after. This one seems pretty good. And you can see they are, in fact, doing their vortex rituals. It's just completely immaterial to us. I think I want the fourth book next. The earlier you pick up a recruit rank thing, the more effective it will be. So yeah, we're headed west, which means Settra needs to set out this way. Okay, you guys can sit still for another turn. Okay, we're getting there. We're starting to get some stuff done. So what does this do again? Public order that we don't super need, although I could demolish the public order building we built. Unit experience gain for stuff that's just sitting around in this province. It does cost 15,000 gold, so maybe that's not really that feasible. Okay, at 3,000 gold, we can start recruiting Ushabti. Tomb Scorpions are a tier up. All the really cool stuff is crazy expensive. I do want to get Hyro Titans, though. They look extremely cool. Alright, we can do another turn or two here before we have to call it for now. Our first, oh, these guys are... Nope, absolutely not. Our first batch of enemies was pretty straightforward. Weak vampire units, weak orc units. Not a big challenge. We're going to have to go up against dwarves in a second here, though, and that is probably going to be considerably more difficult. The Saucy Bard. A ribald rhymer of raucous repute has arrived in your lands. As you tour the settlements, his vulgar verse spreads like the galloping scumpox, sowing boundless cheer in the locals. Alright. That's handy. So, yeah, public order is still totally in the toilet here. Lost Plateau. Lost Plateau is where we need to make room for a public order building, probably. So, I guess let's demolish this. Where are we at on our Nehekara warriors?
King of Kings.
We are at capacity. So losing this building will cost us some. That's unfortunate. And we can put the thing in Mount Arachnos instead. Yeah, we don't need this recruitment building. We have way more skeleton archer capacity than we're using. We need iron for a quest, don't we? Yeah. It'll award us 500 gold. So the iron mine basically pays itself off, while giving us access to a new resource.
I rule everything. Undead minds.
So we'll head up through Zandi, and then we'll fight these guys on our way over to Dwarf Town. Unfortunately, once again, unpleasant climate. There are gemstones here, though. How big are these guys? Are these their only 3 settlements? Like, is a war with these dwarves going to be a problem for us? No, actually, we'll probably be okay.
And what can the Dawi do for you on this fine day? Aye.
Okay, 276 gold per turn. That is a big gain for us. That was really great. How is our reputation with everybody else going? Pretty poorly, actually. The Bowmen of Orion still like us, but overwhelmingly we're just like slightly negative. Yep, the same -10 with everybody. What about those Bretonians?
Do you... The laws of chivalry demand I must decline. Valiantly. Bow before the rightful lords of this
We're
land.
close. We're close with both of them. How do they feel about... Oh, they have trade agreements with the prospectors.
Armored in faith.
So if we're going to make friends with these guys, we kind of have to do it before we hit those dwarves. Because we're going to take a serious reputation hit with them.
To
Unfortunate. Alright, we are 8 turns off of being able to start fielding a 3rd stack. What is our money going toward right now? What do we want next? Karakzorn is friendly. It might not always be so. But for the moment, Lost Plateau is probably fairly safe. And again, I also actually don't care if we lose Lost Plateau. We definitely need to get a public order structure going. I guess that's all we're doing with our money for the moment. That was all the money. Yeah, the next book is going to be a little bit of a pain to get to. So these guys, as far as I'm aware, as my understanding is, these guys will not attack or anything. They just wait. Wait for us to want to come over to the Black Pyramid once we have our books and whatever. So we don't have to worry about them backstabbing us. Alright, raid the following region. Settra's agents bring him word of a place in the north where petty natives have risen above their station, their power bought with ancient treasures of Nehekaran origin. He has witnessed the rise and fall of empires and senses this is no mere coincidence. A force must be deployed at once to obtain hostages and divine the location of the crown. Okay. Raids must be ordered with a single aim. Seize those who know the whereabouts of the Nehekaran relics, slay the rest. That is 2 aims. Ah, man. Well, our friendship with these Bretonnians may not be long-lived. I do want my crown, though. It seems like a very good item. Well... Alright, let's move to the edge of the big attrition area. We'll just move through it all at once next turn.
He does not impress me.
Definitely grab Restless Dead. We should probably grab Restless Dead for Settra next, actually. Because that, it seems crazy. Well, we have a lot of really good stuff on the docket for him, actually. What a shame. All of our choices for skill selection are too good. Ooh. I do love a catapult. That said, I also want access to Tomb Guard, especially since we have bonus capacity for them. This will add to our trade value a little bit. I probably want to wait until we get access to Tomb Guard before doing anything else. So yeah, don't spend any money, just save up for that. And we'll play until I can get that building started up. Because once I can do that, I'm afraid that if I save now and then come back to this tomorrow, I will forget what I was saving money for. So we'll get that building started and then we'll call it for the day. Okay, none of this stuff is relevant to us at all. Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're just going to end up at war with these guys. Well, it'll be nice to have a third army in a minute here. 6 turns from now.
Bow before your king. I deem it. Advance!
And if we got backstabbed by somebody, it could be a real problem. Okay. There, I think we're going to call it for today. We have some things to consider. Now that I'm thinking I might end up at war with these Bretonnians anyway, maybe it's better to come at the dwarves through the Bretonnian lands instead of starting a new war. Let's see here. The Rakaf Dynasty. How many settlements do you guys have? Just those 2, actually. So, starting the new war wouldn't necessarily be a big deal. It wouldn't take us long to conclude it. And the same is true of these guys, actually. Both of these Bretonnian factions could be wiped out very quickly. Although, also, we're gaining approval with both of them, too.
The laws of chivalry demand. I am no churl.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
These lands are ours by the right. All right.
Okay, all right, that's cool. We are gonna have to crater our opinion with these guys in order to move our quest forward. Maybe we just do. Maybe these guys are just dead. I don't know. Tough to say. I'll think about it. Anyway, that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Come back next time. We're wiping somebody out. And we'll see you then.